and there's that. And we are talking. We are talking. It's Instruction Derby. It's Instruction Derby, and it's a Wednesday. This is so exciting. And the screen looks a little bit different today because we have a very exciting special guest here for us. Instruction Derby, usually we just sit back and do video game manuals and kick back and read. But today we're going to get some learning in. We're going to learn a little bit about working at Bungie, about working on Halo and doing cool artistic stuff. We have Lorraine McLees here, who has been so kind and so generous with her time to join and chat and just talk about some cool stuff. Lorraine, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This should be really, again, it was all about fun. Andrew, a former colleague of mine, clued me into your channel and said, hey, like you guys should talk about, Halo manuals.
That's right.
Because he has a nostalgic view of those too. I enjoyed working on them. So yeah, let's see how the sausage is made.
Let's see how the
So
sausage. Let's see how the sausage is made. I was starting to write that into one of my one of my posts about it. I was like, let's see how the manual sausage is made. I just like the phrase was getting gross, and I was like, I don't know.
yeah.
Uh, it it just sounds gross. Speaking of Andrew, who is of course the person who connected us. Thank you to Andrew Elmore. The music in the background of the show is also done by Andrew Elmore. You can go to
Okay.
satellitesound.net. Yep, and he has been kind enough to let me pilfer the music for the background of the show for quite some time. So it's go ahead and pick it up on satellitesound.net. If you're watching the stream, it's up there on the top. We got a chat, which is amazing. Jural plays, first time chat. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much. Halo mentioned, indeed. Silverhand, we are here. If anybody throughout the show is watching and notes that something wonky has happened, I'm going to start the show with this. I love to start the show with caveats and preambles about, like, just, expectation setting. If cameras start getting messed up, if audio starts getting messed up, please do shout it out and let us know, because that is going to be something that is important to know. Because if we're just sitting here talking and you can't hear us, then what's the fun in that? I am recording, so at some point this will go up and then people can watch it. And I do know for a fact that the recording audio worked, so I haven't broken that. But anyway, yeah, let's just start talking. Lorraine, if you don't mind, my long preamble is now out of the way, I promise. Tell me and us. We had a chance to chat a little bit before the show, but tell us about you. What's your background? What's your story?
Okay. I always like kind of freeze every time that
Me
because
too.
like a million things go through my head every time. But I was in games for 24 years. But on Halo, when I first started working on it, I was art director of marketing back in 1999. So I was working on the logo, making sure to get it good and finalized for the Macworld reveal
Okay.
of that year. And then the company got acquired the following year in 2000. And I segued into doing 3D art
Okay.
because there was not one place I could call home at Microsoft as art director of marketing, because they had like three departments. I think we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
They had three departments who essentially, were responsible for the things that were under my purview when I was at Bungie then. So I made the move to do 3D art. But even before I did that, I designed a Pillar of Autumn. I guess that's my Call of Fame too. It's like that was something that nobody was working on. I said, "Hey, Lauren, can you go make something?" And so I drafted a few sketches while I was working on Oni, while I was working on Myth
Yep.
the Total Codex, like two completely different genres. And then had to go like now spaceships. But that's what the team was like back then. It was a very small team. We did a lot of different things. It was a very rare time. I don't think that will ever be repeated unless you're in an indie company and you're doing like multiple things all at once. Um, so anyway, with a background in print and then segueing into 3D art, I started to work on like this stuff, the manuals. So I have like
Yeah.
this. I think I shared a screenshot of this. This is the final technical review of the Halo manual, and I uncovered this because we moved offices a lot, and I would just stuff things in boxes and forget about it. And then we'd get into the new office and we're on to the new thing. And then I'd find this box. I'm like, what am I going to do with this stuff? Right. And I find it interesting, just because, it has all the markings on it. And I just felt like it was, I don't know, it's a record of the time. I'm a pack rat too. So
That's a good thing. That works out
that's
really well
how,
for
yeah.
us. Yeah, and that works out for us. We get to see some of the markups and some of
Mhm.
the context around how all of this stuff came together. It's fascinating to think of, Halo Bungie, right? Like that is a name that looms so large for folks of, especially like for like me of that generation. I mean, just like these gigantic, important, huge games and all that. But to hear you sort of reference it as almost like indie like in that structure where everybody's
Yeah.
wearing
Yeah.
a lot of different hats. Can I ask real quick? And there's a lot of stuff going on in chat. We got Andrew Elmore has said hello, of
Hey.
course.
Hello.
The man of the hour. He's the third guest. Andrew, you're the third guest on the show. Please keep joining in chat. Bijatron is here as well. We got Stray Catalyst and Darren Hupke as well. There might be some questions that come through chat, Lorraine. So if any do come up, is it
Okay.
okay
Yeah. Yeah.
if I ask them of you as well? I'm curious,
Yeah. That's fine.
just as a quick thing because it piques my interest. Moving over to from being independent to because Bungie was independent before getting acquired by Microsoft, right?
Yeah,
Um,
we ended up because of the Myth 2 uninstallator bug in '98. Take Two Interactive had a non-controlling stake in the company,
got it. Okay.
so when we got acquired, they got away. They came out of the deal essentially with the franchise for Oni and Myth. I don't know if they also got a sum of money from Microsoft during the acquisition, but yeah,
Okay.
that's why there was no more Myth and Oni coming out of Bungie. So.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. And so the process of actually getting acquired, like what was that like? Like getting bought by Microsoft in that era. What was that like?
I wasn't in the executive suite,
Fair.
so to speak. But it was definitely a thing that the rebellious lot that we were, like, we were really kind of, there's no way. Why are we doing this? Why are we going to be bowing to the man? Um, but the thing that was the most compelling was we were going to be, and here's like me being figurative about it, but we were going to be the tip of the spear in this console.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was going to be, we were going to be a major part of the new Xbox.
All right.
Um, and we actually had, like, engineering also participated in developing the original Xbox. We also had folks from the original Xbox engineering team joining Bungie, so we were really kind of tied pretty close together. There are very few people on Xbox who would have, and nowadays we have like the little badges.
Yeah.
um, there are only a handful of people who would have more than 20 years on that platform. I think if you guys ever see like my gamer tag on there, I'm still Mev on Xbox. Um, and I have a badge, but there are a couple of folks who have joined Bungie since who were part of the actual development team. They have like more numbers to me, like, what? And we actually had somebody on the team who were able to secure their actual name as their gamer tag, David.
Whoa.
Right? Like, to actually get the name is actually kind of fun. It's
That's pretty
pretty.
good. That's pretty. I thought I had a good with my blue sky being McConnell.bsky.social. I was like, oh my god, this is going to make me a fortune in the future. David as your Xbox Live name. That's going to be a whole nother level.
Yeah, but he had since, like, I forgot my password. I don't even know what email I used, and so he just like abandoned us. Like, oh man.
Oh man, that's pretty
And he
funny.
was and David, and I'm speaking of David Candlin. There were many Davids, over the course of early Bungie. But it was David Candlin. He also worked on, like, he was the UI guy
Okay.
on Halo, and so some of the elements that went into the manual are stuff that he had made, and I wanted to make sure to capture it and make sure it made into the manual.
That's very cool. So when we talk about the manual, the many Davids of Bungie, that's like I feel like that's a book at some point. The
And
when
the many Chris's and Michaels.
the many Chris's and Michaels,
Anyway.
yeah, yeah. There's I feel like in the '80s there's like okay in the '80s America it's like here's like 5 names and you can just pick from all of them and that's it. That's like the '70s, the '80s, not a lot of choices for names. When you talk about pulling things together for the manual, for this show, um, can you tell us a little bit about what that process was like? I think you told me before the stream wearing a lot of different hats, and maybe departments didn't always talk together super closely. What was that process like?
Yeah, the departments that didn't speak too closely, like, was outside of our studio.
Fair.
Right, because it was one of the things that I noticed during the time of acquisition, where I was trying to figure out what team I was going to join. Again, because, like, as art director of marketing, I couldn't really, like, join, like, the marketing team. They had their own art director, and I couldn't really work on packaging. They had their own packaging people. I couldn't
Hmm.
really work on, you know, there were a bunch of different things. It was like many different places. So I was gonna join the UX team, so that's the user experience team that handle the manuals. They also handle, like, point of purchase, stuff like shelf talkers and things like that. They do, like, a lot of the print stuff. And then you have the packaging team, who literally works on packaging and key art.
Hmm.
And then you have, like, uh, I think those are essentially two. There was a third one that I was talking about before, but it just totally slipped my mind. Well,
Yes.
anyway, um, and so when we got acquired, there was a very definite push from, the co-founders, that we want to remain a complete unit.
Mm.
We tried to be as complete as possible, but we couldn't bring with us our test team. Um, those got absorbed by Microsoft Test.
Okay.
We couldn't really bring our community team per
Okay.
se,
So
but
like
we
central
kind of
teams,
had
kind
to
of.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, like the web team,
Okay.
right? Like in the store, like we had a Bungie store, like
Oh,
there
sure.
was no place for them to be. But our, like, Matt Sell, who was essentially our PR person, and, Doug Zartman, they joined the franchise development group. But we were able to keep Matt. We wanted to keep Bungie Net, so we
Mm.
still needed to be able to put that together. So at some point, I joined Bungie Net, because, like, there was not a place where I could really call home. I was on the Phoenix team doing 3D art, but when I started to get more involved in Halo, like, I did more besides design and Pillar of Autumn. I ended up inheriting, like, the oddball, the skull that you
Okay.
hold on to, and by game type, I ended up inheriting that during, like, the Comet Evolved. But there was there were all of these requests from those different departments for assets, and you, like, the 3D art team is busy trying to finish the game. You have, like, tech art is busy trying to finish the game. The art director's busy trying to finish the game, right? Like there was no way they could really spend any time, so they're like, there's this big problem, check it at Lorraine, she'll figure it out. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take it,
Okay.
I'll take it, I'll run with this. And so as my role started to kind of pull all of this. I worked with the franchise development group, I worked with the packaging group, I worked with the marketing group, I worked with the UX team. And so all of this thing kind of funneled through. And since I have my hands out, hand in hand with the team, I can pull whatever I needed. And I had to also be sort of not leaning on them. So
Hmm.
I would go into the engine and pull stuff. From my work on Phoenix, I was able to work with the 3D art programs. I had to learn. It's funny, for the cover of this,
There we go.
I had to learn how to animate. Uh, I got a 20-minute demo from Paul. It's like, hey, how do you, like, I learned how to, because creating 3D models, texturing them, rigging them, that was the thing that I was doing, and put them in the engine. But that was on Phoenix. Halo, similar engine,
Hmm.
similar process, similar sourcing. It was the Autodesk 3D Studio Max. Character Builder was the sort of animation tool that was being used. So you have, like, the different nodes for the feet, you have the hip joint, the elbow joint, shoulder, all of that stuff. Anyway, so Paul said, okay, you have everything imported. Okay, here's what this button do. Here's how you change the pose. Make sure you press this button every time you make a change, or you're gonna lose it. And so I had this 20-minute demo.
Good
And
luck.
here's the thing. Okay. So this is the story for this guy. Um, it had gone back and forth what the team wanted. And when we were in Chicago, we had a very specific vision of how this game was going to be, like, we were going to market it, the kind of visuals that we wanted, and how the logo was going to be used and all of that. But Microsoft wanted a solid logo, right? And I'm like, "Ugh, all of that work it's just had to be tossed out." So anyway, so it comes a time where I think I was talking about this earlier. There was a go no go meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the cover of the game, and they had already gone through back and forth, like with Marcus and Joe and Alex, about what the cover was going to be. They went through user testing, which is also like its own ball of wax.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, fine. And so like Joe and Alex like pulled me off. Hey, Lorraine, come with us. We're gonna do this go no go meeting. And so like, okay, I drop whatever it is I'm doing. I go marching off into this guy's office, and they showed us the cover. This is what we're gonna go with. And I was really disappointed because it had nothing at all of the
Mm-hmm.
feel that we wanted from the get-go, like from when we announced it at Macworld, from when we started talking about it, from the different times where feedback was being sent. And Marcus is really like, I don't have time for this shit. I don't know. So now I'm quoting Marcus. I don't know. Like, that's not word for word.
That was the
And
vibe, though. That
that
was the
is the
general vibe.
sentiment. It's like
Uh-huh.
there's just no time.
Yep.
Like somebody else needs to fix it. And so I wanted to kind of help guide the process
Mm.
as best as I can. But in that meeting, Alex was caving in, Joe was caving in, and I said, well, can I try something? Because if I don't give it a try, I'm never going to forgive myself. And so I talked to the guy, what time do you need it? And he says, well, 6 o'clock. And you guys are super talented. He was like, really like all praise and nicey, niceness. But we've been working on this for like 5, 6 months. I think we're really in a really good spot. And I said, okay, well, if I don't have something by 6 p.m.,
Sure.
we'll just go with
Whatever.
this. It'll be totally fine. And that's when like I went back to my desk. Hey, Paul, how do I use this thing? Right? So I had the 20-minute demo on animation.
Oh my God.
And then I knew what pose I needed to do. So while I'm like syncing my build
Oh,
to whatever current and getting the tools to work, I'm sketching, and I run that back to the team. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And I
wow.
got like essentially, back then I could draw really fast. I can't do that anymore.
You don't. Maybe you
It
don't
takes
have
me
to.
an
But yeah.
hour. Right?
Maybe.
It's just anyway, right? Because you look at this like little doodle, like because they were trying to do like we wanted an iconic thing. That kind of looks weird. I don't know if that's showing up on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. There you go.
Like it's
Yep.
just a halo on it.
Halo. There it is. There it is.
And a little circle, like the pose for the chief needs to be in character.
Yep.
That's really all I want. And so I did that, created the thing. In the meantime, I'm emailing the guy, hey, can you send me the Photoshop file so I can just replace the dude and then you guys can like go, because it still needs to go do a rendering pass by another agency
Sure.
to make it fully high res, right? Because we're still in the 360 days, so everything is like what 1080p
Oh,
if
sure.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yep. Yep.
it was so rare, so it's not print ready. Anyway, so I rendered this thing out. It gives me a JPEG, so I have to like erase, like do all of that stuff on a flat file. And I slap my my render on top, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like 5:45.
Oh man. You
And
run
so
it.
I hurry up, send it to the printer, and I'm waiting for it to go, come on. And then I hear a ding of the elevator at the end of the hallway. And then I see them come, okay, right, I gotta really sell this. I wrote 2 things on this piece of paper. I wish I freaking kept it. That's one thing I wish I
Ugh.
kept. But I think they walked away with it because
Okay.
I wrote on there the Master Chief, because we finally gave him a name, the Master Chief, because he was just the cyborg at
The
the time.
cyborg.
The Master Chief is neither a running back or a center. He is a soldier, right? And so this pose was the thing I pointed an empty gun at the marketing guy, and he was like, "Oh, crazy lady," right? And then Alex had to pull me aside, like, "Okay,
Use
look,
my
it's
art.
everything you said." Anyway, and so that printout and those 2 little words, 2 little lines of text, they said, "Oh, I guess I do get a sense of like, um, engagement from this pose.
Hmm.
Maybe a little bit feel a little threatened too, whatever."
Yeah.
I forget exactly the words, but they loved it, and they said, "Okay, well, give us the final render like tomorrow." And like so again, I stayed there. I stayed at the office, just like everybody else. I like when I was speaking to Mylin a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
talking about 110 hours. I put 110 hours, and that's not an exaggeration. That's actually not as much as what Robert, my husband, had to do
Really?
to help ship the game, right? Because he was like 18-hour days, and
Yeah.
sometimes over the weekend you don't go home,
Yeah, you just stay.
so you just stay. Or sometimes Friday, like there's like a run for Frosties at the Wendy's, and then everybody gets a boost of energy and just stays there till like 3 in the morning. It's
Everybody
just
gets 30 minutes of sunlight and then back to it.
yeah, if that, right? Because and
Man, that is
that's how
crunch.
I inherited the oddball. It's because I wanted to go home, and I'm like, I'm done with the Phoenix stuff. It's like already 1 a.m. When are we gonna go home? He says, well, I still have to like texture this. I have to unwrap the UVs on this thing. I'm like, okay, I learned how to do that. Here, give me that. I get back to my desk. I unwrapped it. Here you go, done. Anything else? What do can we go home now?
Oh my God.
And he's just, I gotta texture that thing too, and then blah blah. Okay, fine. I'll go put some textures together. At least help you on your way. And I ended up inheriting it because the very next morning, producer's like, "Hey, when are you gonna be done with Oddball?"
Yeah, oh my God. This is
I inherited, I inherited it, and so I had to finish it. And essentially, so that thing,
it's so funny.
and the thing that blew people's mind was there is a little chip on the back of the skull.
Hmm.
Um, and I put that there because that was supposed to be where the chip came out of, because it's supposed to be Captain Keyes' skull.
Mm-hmm.
That was the oddball that you're running around with. It's like it's a little macabre. Like, ah, that's what I was told it was.
That's what I was supposed to do. I don't
So,
know.
because the first texture I put on there was because you had to use a flamethrower to burn the flood off of
Uh-huh.
Captain Keyes after he was. That was the original thing. We were supposed to have a flamethrower,
Okay.
but the original Xbox couldn't handle
They couldn't
it,
handle
so
the
we
like
cut.
the
So
tech
the
couldn't handle
flamethrower,
it. Okay.
yes, the flamethrower had to go away. It was put back in for multiplayer on PC, but
Okay.
there was cut. Oh yeah, like this has some cut features in
Oh
here in the
yes.
manual that I'd love to eventually get into.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I had like I had to research burnt flesh, and I put
Oh.
burnt flesh on the skull, and I finished the texture path, and then I imported it into game, and then so the game starts, boop, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Hey, Rob, what do you think of this? And he was like, he was so grossed out too. Like, the whole point is to hold on to the ball, and but here you see it, you want to just let go.
It's like I'm not holding this thing.
It was a little too much, but thankfully, we learned that evening that the flamethrower was cut, and so like, oh, thank God.
You don't
Okay,
have.
so I can at least do like spores and flood, textures, which,
Okay.
Rob is the father of the flood, so he's the one who created it.
Okay.
So he had a very distinct idea of what it should look like, or like at least the textures, and so I was able to redo it. So what we see in the final oddball is what ended up being, in the game. So
Wow.
anyway, there's that. But yeah, so during that time, like I had a title of artist, but because I did all these different things and worked with so many different teams, my title was Pixel Smith.
Pixel Smith.
So
That's right.
that's what I ended up. It's on my usually. If I had a business card to give out, it would have
Pixel
Pixel
Smith.
Smith on it. Yeah,
That's pretty good. Well, that
you're
that
right.
is that is
So
amazing. Yes.
that's like a very long intro. That's kind of what I worked on, like in Combat
Yeah.
Evolved, and then as we go throughout the later years, like in Halo 2, I was the principal marketing artist. I mean, I was just doing the marketing art. Like there
Hmm.
was like not really a specific title like assigned to me, but the golden campaign for Halo 2 was the stuff that I worked on, and I ended up working on like I worked on art books, I worked on action figures, and then when it came to Halo 3, like in Halo Reach, like by that point, like when we were doing live action, stuff, I was the one who is usually like sent off to the special effects house in Burbank, um, to kind of oversee, make sure that
Okay.
everything is like looking the way it should and stuff like that. So I did that stuff too. So
That is.
there are videos of me on like Vidocs, that kind of talk about like I worked on collector's editions and things
Okay.
like that too later on.
That is so
But
cool. This is the
but yeah,
coolest stuff. I feel like I'm just sitting here like I could let you just talk as like forever because this is fascinating to me. This is the kind of stuff that like I think folks who don't work in games, and even I think some folks who do work in games, don't quite understand just how much of this stuff is how much of their favorite moments in games or aspects of games are really the result of people just like jamming to get something in because they think it'll be really cool and they're going to work super
Yeah.
hard to make it happen. And so, you talking about like being told that this is the cover unless you can get me something by 6 p.m. Usually it's like if somebody's like, well, get me
Yeah.
something by the end of the week. That's fine. I could do that. But 6 p.m., okay, someone's going to need to teach me how to use this software. Like that's on another level. And that's really cool. And then the end result is something I think that's truly iconic, right? Something that really
Yeah.
is amazing. And you mentioned, and we were talking a little bit about this before the show too, but you just mentioned in there that he didn't even have a name right up until kind of that moment.
Yeah.
Y- how a few months before, where is all of this in the timeline?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I remember putting together like a few sheets of different poses of
Mm,
the main character, and my file name says is the cyborg
mm-hmm.
was what it was called. And I think, but I don't know at which point we started calling him, like at pinpoint the time or the month, in relation to like the release, like how far along that chain did we start calling him the Master Chief, right? And it's getting him the rank Master Chief Petty Officer,
Mm-hmm.
right? John 117, because that's the highest rank you could be and still be in the action,
In
right? Like
combat, got it.
otherwise you'd be like rear echelon, like
Admin.
commanding
Yep.
this, and yeah, like actually just well, you go here, you do this, and actually do the planning and be
Mm-hmm.
around the whatever. Um, at least that's what we knew. Like
That,
again, none of us at the time had any none of us were in the military. Like later on, like we had folks who are like ex-army rangers
okay.
and marines, and we have like folks who were in the army who were like comms,
Mm-hmm.
like on the team, and some folks who were in the artillery units and stuff like that. We had a later on, like bunch, we had folks who were in like Operation Iraqi Freedom, like
Oh, sure.
who did a lot of stuff in like in tech, like in cybersecurity and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like prior service folks who eventually joined the team.
You
But
joined as well.
back then, like the 60 something of us, we were all like basically kids who
Yeah.
love making, who love doing the stuff. Um, yeah, just making art and trying to create something that we felt folks would like to like dive into.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that that's like an understatement, right? I mean, in terms of what you all
We
wound up
we
doing.
really, like, none of us knew like if it
Really,
was going to be a
really.
big hit.
Okay.
There's no way there's no, like when you're making anything
It's
really,
true.
there's no way you can know. Like we had a sense that um we were building something that was good. That's good.
Yeah. That's what you can control, right? I
Like
mean, I guess that's what you can
yeah,
control.
it was this is the best that we can make it in the
Mm-hmm.
time that we have. There were so many things that we wanted uh, to include, or the team wanted to include. Again, I was no longer like was not really core dev at that point. Like when it came to Halo, I started everything that people saw or touched before you actually got into the game, or essentially the things that I had a hand in. Right? I was the one who was helping the bigger teams
Mm-hmm.
at Microsoft to stay in touch with the the core of what the game was going to be, what the game experience is
Okay.
going to be.
That's cool. Now, a question for you. You'd mentioned this earlier also before the stream, and I think Andrew made a reference to Master Chief's thumb in there. I think
Oh yeah,
if you could talk a little, because I thought this was so fascinating. I think the folks watching
oh yeah,
will enjoy this story a lot. The
yeah. So
differences between the covers.
yeah, so I'm gonna point this. So this is the Game of the Year edition,
I'm going to
and I
make your
think this is
screen a little bit bigger for everybody here. I'll open this up a
so
bit.
this is
Goodbye, me.
the premiere edition. I know this is the best cover. So I have to look at it. All right. The thing that you'll find different is that one, the gun is not plugged up. I even include the rifling in the barrel, and then he actually has a proper hand holding on to the foregrip here. Now, the model of the chief only has like a little wedge. His hand is permanently like in that shape. Like he didn't have fingers. So yeah,
Hmm.
in Halo 2, when you see him like kind of doing this thing on screen, I'm like, yes,
They
we
did
yes.
it. Fingers.
In Halo 2, like going into that elevator,
Mittens. Yep.
right? Yeah, what if you miss? I won't, right? Like that. That's just so great. But anyway, I had to draw the hand because we were making a T-shirt at the time, as this was going to go into print, and, as
Okay.
it was being finalized at the agency. And again, go no go meeting. I was just in the middle of like doing this T-shirt art where it's essentially this cover but done up like I did an illustration of it, and I fixed the hand, and I said, hey, is there any way that you guys can get somebody to to fix the hand so he's actually holding on to the gun. And like the team who was there presenting this like basically final piece of art, right? And the one dissenting voice coming from me saying, hey, can you actually fix the hand? And they're like, there's no way, we don't have time to re-render.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. You don't have to re-render anything. This is really great. It's like high fidelity, like, really awesome. But it's just that the hand needs to be redrawn. But we don't have time to, like, these guys are not artists. And so they
Mm.
were just panicking. I said, well, here, hold on. I disappear in the next room, grab it's a I have it right here. It's a piece of paper. And so I already have it. I can give it to you. Somebody just has to put it on top and then put the texture on it. That's it. Like, it's the
Good.
thumb is not going into the front of the gun. And that became a thing. But the word thumb was like the thing that was like top of mind. And so when the cover came out, his thumb looked like a freaking snail, like going in. It was like, you will see it. You will find it. It's online. It looks like a snail. His like the foregrip hand
Yeah.
part is not there. So
Oh,
anyway,
that's
it's just
funny.
hilarious. And so when the Game of the Year version came on, like, can I just fix this? Come on. And so I just spent 45 minutes on it and gave them back a high res texture to just superimpose over the thing. It's like, you guys, you can
Didn't
do better.
didn't
Come
have to be
on.
panicking here, guys. We could work
Right.
together to
And
do this.
so, and going back full circle with the
Yeah.
Mac thing. So, the VP at Bungie during the time of the acquisition was, oh man, why am I forgetting his name? Peter. I'm forgetting his name, but he was head of Gearbox.
Okay.
And so when Gearbox was going to do the Mac version, so I got a chance to speak with Peter. Say, hey, can you use the original logo that we worked on? Put it in your advertising. And so it was kind of like that was part of the thing. It has come full circle, and then it was like the original logo finally made it.
That's
Finally
cool.
saw the light of day for the Mac version.
Okay. That is wild. That is a trip. Oh, did I lose you there? You still
Oh,
there?
hold on a second. Hold on. I'm getting a call in. So
Oh, okay. Hey,
it's
that's
from
okay.
my phone.
Listen, you know what?
Oops.
Listen, you're doing me a huge favor by just being on this. If you got to take a phone call too, that is a
And
okay.
then
This is
I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing back. Hold on.
oh,
My phone is just now you're like
well,
sideways and everything on this.
as
And
as you do that, I'll read a few things. Maybe I'll read a few things out from
I
the
got
the
it.
the crowd. Okay, I want to
Okay,
note
go ahead, go
this.
ahead, go ahead.
A few things. I think Flashback 64 Pod, who's in the chat, is I think saying what we're all thinking, which is this is cool. I agree. I think this is extremely
Wow.
cool. Andrew Elmore has in fact called you his favorite person ever.
Aw.
And I'm inclined to agree. I mean, like, this is amazing. This is like so cool. I heard somebody earlier, Stray Catalyst, said couple goals when you were talking about going in and helping out on the last minute stuff with the oddball and everything. Going in late nights and working there. So I think this stuff, the stories that you're telling, the context that you're providing, the insights that you're sharing um, are just super special for all of us. This is really cool. I
Thank
do have a
you.
question from the chat, if that's okay. And chat, if you do
Yeah.
chat, this is that's the worst. I'm sorry. I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to call people in chat. That's like the worst streamer thing. I feel terrible for saying that. I
But it's
feel
so normalized. I don't
it's so
know.
normalized. Smash that like button. Follow and subscribe. Chat. Uh,
Sorry.
Chat, is this good? This is very scary. This is alarming. I'm becoming my worst self in the last like 3 minutes. It is a question from Darren Hupke, who is a good fella. He asks this, and this is just sort of maybe it's a good time to just ask a random question here. He asks, was there ever anything personal you snuck into your work just for you as a fun secret? Not to put you on the spot. That's a tough one, maybe, but it's a good question. Thank you,
No.
Darren.
No.
No. Okay.
I have an interesting anecdote though for you regarding that. So when the multiplayer map pack was being put together,
Mm.
I think it was then, there was a point where every time anybody got into this particular area, the game frame rate just went like 2 frames per second. It was like madness. And people were like, what the hell is going on here? Right. And it just so happens a contractor who got put on the team put a shrine to his girlfriend inside of the game.
Oh my God.
they,
Corny.
they had to strip that out. Yeah, they had to strip it out, and then it was performing fine. But
Oh
it was like, and the
no.
guy's like, ah,
Oh my God.
out, out you go.
That is the
But
most.
he did not last. I would feel so bad because, like, the level,
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
remember what map it was, but that was the thing. It was like, can you believe this?
Oh my
So
God.
and so put a shrine to his girlfriend in the game. Like, what the hell?
It's
Anyway,
it's corny enough to do that, right? In the first place. It's like you're like, okay, we're gonna put in this shrine of my girlfriend, but then to have it cause like actual problems is just like when you get busted for that, your heart probably drops to your feet. You're just like, I'm gonna go hide in a room for a little while. Oh my
yeah,
God.
maybe it was probably like, oh well, I got busted. Okay, fine, I'll just keep working,
Oh
right?
man.
But yeah, I don't. He may have been able to stay until his contract was done. He just never got renewed.
Never got renewed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it's time for renewal. It's like is
Yeah,
this the guy who put the shrine to his girlfriend in the game? Okay, yeah, no renewal.
I did not get. I didn't. Even in the marketing art, it wasn't something. I didn't have enough of a presence of self to do it. I should have, in hindsight, right? I should have, like, like in Oni, like all of the, like, sort of the matrixy, like,
hmm
kanji that was in the background. I did not insert anything in there.
Would have
It
been
was
perfect.
yeah, it would have been perfect. It's like no one would have known.
Oh my
but I
god.
but I didn't. I didn't.
That's so
Um
cool.
the only, like, sort of self that went into
Yeah.
the game was in, not in Halo, it was in Fusion Frenzy 2.
Okay.
I didn't realize it at the time, but one of the characters in the green, and I already forgot his name, but when I look back at the drawings of those two kids, the Japanese lady, and then the dude with the with the with the red hair.
Yep.
I don't remember if he had a beard too.
I want to
Essentially,
say there
when
was
I
a
put
beard.
them together,
Yeah.
they look like me and my husband. So
Aw.
when I saw that, I was like, I subconsciously I put us in there. So anyway,
That's
it's
really
Naomi
cool.
and somebody else, I forget. Anyway,
Aw.
that'll be their only thing. So it was just like a anime caricature of the two of us in like sporting gear. I don't
That's
know.
Oh, that's really funny. That's a cool one actually. That's way better than the hidden shrine, I think. I think that's really cool. That's nice. Bring yourselves into the game. That's pretty cool. Well, listen, let's do this, I guess. And again, folks, if anybody else has more questions in there, if people are loving this. I think we can do this. Maybe we'll take a quick look at the manual as it exists. I think we can use that as a springboard. I probably won't do the usual sort of like read through all sorts of stuff because I think just hearing from you is way more interesting than that for me right now. But maybe
Okay.
this is a good opportunity as we look through some stuff to highlight, some of the differences that came about from, the I think you call it the tech. Was it the tech review?
Yeah, the final tech
And then
review.
the
Yeah.
the final version. So I'm gonna do this now. This is a risky move because as just as like a little bit of background, Lorraine and I hung out for like an hour before this, and we were talking, and it was great. And I was also trying to make sure that my stream was going to work because my computer wanted to just not be alive anymore. My computer was like, this is too hard. I can't do it. So I'm going to switch screens, which is going to take me to another place. If it completely screws up, just bear with me. I'm very scared about this. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so my screen stopped, but I watch this. I think I can bring myself back. Okay, I'm still here. Lorraine, you're still here. Well, don't say success yet, Andrew Elmore, because we don't know if audio is working. Lorraine, can we hear
Okay.
you?
Can you
I
guys hear me?
I can hear you. Success. We got success. We did it.
All right.
We switched screens. This
Okay.
is great. This is the best day of my life. Okay, we did it. Um, so yeah, so the Halo manual. I pulled out the Xbox version. I actually don't know off the top of my head, Xbox, PC, if there's any sort of major difference between them. I was an Xbox player, so that's why I pulled this one for us. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's the one that I have. So
that's the
look,
one that you perfect.
the initial
Oh
like
yeah.
offer for the cover was that. So
Let me
it
let
was
me.
before the
Can you show that again? Actually, I'm gonna pull you to the front. 1 second here. Hang tight for 1 second. Order. Oh God. Order. Pull. Move to top. There we go. So there you go. So that halo, and you can see if you look, there's the halo, the ring right there, right behind, as opposed to sort of taking up the whole thing. Cool. Thank you for that. All right. Let's see here, and then I will
yeah, and
order.
that was the desktop that was eventually like released, and we put the little star charts behind it, and that was the desktop that was offered for the
Cool.
community.
Okay. All right. That is cool. Okay. So there you go. So there's already a difference right there. I think this is cool. What was the process like for when, you're going through, and as we kind of scroll through the manual a little bit, which is I think how I'm going to sort of handle this one. There's a lot going on throughout it. There's story segments. There's visualizations of different things. What was the process like for providing feedback? I think like one thing that happens now in my job in video games is everybody just sends each other a bajillion Slack messages, and you just sort of have to hope to be catching it and go through there. And then there's like, well, maybe this one person wants to use this one tool in software and all that. But you were showing me your document earlier, and it's a lot of like handwritten notes. There's a lot of those things. What was the process like for
Yeah.
you then?
So, this being the final tech review, let's just document and see if I can do the switch, like I
Oh yes,
was
we did.
doing.
There's more
All right.
there's more technical magic about to happen. Watch this. Let's see if this works. We're gonna get a
Okay, let's
camera
see. I'm
swap.
gonna tilt the camera and then, boop,
Yes.
ta-da! Okay.
Okay.
All
I'm gonna
right.
I'm gonna bring this to the front again. I'm gonna order, and I'm going to move to the top, and I'm gonna make your screen bigger. Is that okay, everybody? I think this is what's most important. All
Okay,
right.
let's see. All right. Let's see. Move it over here.
Also, while you
All
do
right.
that, I'll note Ray Lokito in chat says that it's awesome. The artwork that you've got right there. Have the magnet promo with that artwork on there. Someone Ray Lokito in chat says that. So that's very
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, so final tech review is like it's such a scary word because
Yeah,
like
it
what do
is.
you mean it's the final? It's just a tech review. So it's just content. And so like the note that came with this one was essentially, it says now we're primarily looking to review the content for technical inaccuracies or missing information, but if there are any other glaring problems in your opinion, point them out. If you find inaccuracies, please provide suggestions for how you think the text should be revised. And so
Cool.
this has all of the notes that I had. And I went to the graphic designer on the UX team who was working on it, a lady named Chris Lassen. So I scooted over. It's funny, I had to use a little the push scooter,
Uh huh.
because the office was really like large. And so it would have taken me like 5 minutes to go over to the other end of the building. So I would
Yep.
use a scooter to get across. So I scooted over to her office and then I sat down and then we went over it page by page to kind of look at the stuff. So you can
Wow.
kind of see like the design difference
Yep.
for the stuff, and just kind of looking at, say, it says use blue, what is it? Use blue border similar in style to the character frames, and use blue text, use a lighter blue, because
Oh yeah.
but again, it's a printout, so it doesn't really reproduce really well, right? And then I think in the actual one, it's like the yellow, because the orange doesn't come out really
Yep.
well. And so here we see the original Xbox. Look at that.
Look at that thing.
I have the green one. So this was the black one. But yeah, look at this
Ooh.
Duke.
All right. Look at
Anybody?
that thing.
Who else still has the Duke? Oh my gosh.
I've still got my Duke. I've still got my Duke. I love that thing. I don't know. I like it. The only thing I wish, if we could go back in time, is I want the big Xbox like circle thing to be a squishy. I want it to be like a squishy fidget toy. I want to squish that
Right?
Xbox. Yeah, exactly. Squish, squish, squish. Yeah, it's got like a slime or whatever in it. Oh, Andrew
Right, that
Elmore.
you can
Andrew Elmore
actually
says,
see.
"I've got a bunch of Dukes." Andrew Elmore. That's probably not surprising. Andrew Elmore says he's got a bunch of Dukes. He also wants to note just real quick, Lorraine, sorry, that Savannah says hi and that you're the greatest to ever do it is the quote.
Aw, hi Savannah, and thank you. Thank you very much. All right, what do we got on the next page? Is it the same?
On the next page, let's see here. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's story, but it's a totally different. Or is this? Let's see. There's story there. Is it the same stuff, the same content, or is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
kind of similar. It kind of talks about, the just a little bit condensed as like the timeline is over
Okay.
here, talking about the first war. Yeah, and that's my screenshot of the Pillar of Autumn.
Yep.
My baby.
My baby.
Um,
How cool.
it's when I did uh that one was modeled by Adam Crockett, who was another contract
Adam
artist who
Crockett.
was
Okay.
brought to the team, and he modeled it based on my photocopied sketches. And he didn't
Whoa.
know there were some things that were missing. And so when I finally discovered where he was squirreled away, because they had to start expanding like the office, and so it
Sure.
was just these side rooms were becoming part of the studio. And he was like squirreled away in this one office with another 3D artist. And then so I finally came across him and I talked to him about the sketches and I gave him my marker renderings and so he was able to add a few more
Oh,
things to it.
cool.
But he had already like been at it for a little while, so I kind of discovered him a little too late because he was kind of like, yeah, again, he was in a side room.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many moving
Um,
parts, right? At all these different spaces and
yeah,
people doing different things, and it must be incredibly difficult to keep everything lined up like that. That's cool.
yeah. So this one has a prologue, and
Okay.
then like getting started is on this thing. So
Okay.
there's not even like
Oh,
a UI
interesting.
shot. Yeah, I remember doing those background shots too and putting those together. Yeah,
Yeah.
David Candlin and I would put screenshots there because he was working on BNet, so he was putting stuff on like on the web, and I was pulling assets together to use for things like this, and the action figures that were also coming out. I was also putting those assets together
All
as
right.
well.
Oh, and here we go. Okay, and this one is
Yeah,
largely similar. It looks like
yeah,
some slight
and it's like
differences in ordering.
yeah, and I wanted her to use this a little bit bigger. Like I was kind of hoping we didn't really need all of the framing, but yeah,
Mm.
there was not a picture of Cortana.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
that's interesting.
That's cool. And the notes that I see sort of scribbled on there, those are mostly just sort of, like what, like a little high level,
Yeah,
move
so it's
this
like
here.
yeah, like you use it larger. And what's this one? Go to a text better. Oh, what is this one? Instead of will be when you need them. I forget. It's like I marked out, like crossed out a bunch of stuff.
That's
Oh,
wild.
I'm
Oh,
getting.
another
I
call.
should.
I While that happens,
Yeah,
I'll just
so
note that
weird.
Prince Zissou in chat, and I apologize if that pronunciation is not good, is here at the gym and here to sing your praises. Notes does note that yes, and actually I will. TNS22 says shame we can't read the text too easily. The image is low res. That's actually my fault, and it's something that I discovered as I was setting this up. Is you can see sort of what's going on, but it's not a super high res image. It's because I am just sharing this straight through a zoomed in version of my Discord. Because again, I think I tried to do something a little more clever earlier and it all fell apart. So, lessons for next time. When we do Halo 2, if you're down, Lorraine, when we do more of these, I'll have I'll make it so that the
Yes, so
higher
look,
res is there.
look what I got.
Oh my God! Hold on. Okay,
Oh my
hold on.
god.
We're gonna there. Halo 2 is ready to go. You were telling me a fascinating story
Yeah.
about the Halo 2 cover, which we can talk about at some point too, whenever you like. But this is so cool. So a quick question too. You um, again, you must have amassed so much stuff from your time in games and here, on at Bungie. Um, you know, how did you decide what to save and what not to save? Because I'm so grateful, for instance, that you decided to save this. The
Yeah.
papers. Like, how did
I-
you decide on that?
So this one, I think I squirreled it away because I wanted to make sure I have my notes to fall back on when we
Cool.
look at the next step. And then I filed it away
Got it.
and it just kind of stayed there.
Yep.
And
All right.
right, so when we were in Redmond when this was being put together, and then the team was there for a bit before moving to the Kirkland office. And during those moves, we had to pack up our stuff. And I just stuff
Mm,
things in the boxes and then they move with me.
okay.
And sometimes we go into the new space and there's not as much room as we used to have. So remember, like during this time, I was also working on action figures. So I had samples and
Right.
samples of things. But I was also working still like the remnants of working on the Phoenix team, where it's, it's a medieval I don't know how to it essentially it's not sci-fi, it's more like medieval
Mm-hmm.
stuff, medieval fantasy stuff. And so I had books and books of reference material for armor, weapons, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I had those reference materials, and then I also had my collection of anime stuff, just because I was an anime collector. So I had my art books there that people
Uh-huh.
like to look through. And so this ended up being saved purely because I needed to reference it later
Okay.
when we got the print. And then I forgot about it. Again, when I was spring cleaning sometime last year, I came across a bunch of stuff, including this. I tossed some of the other stuff away. I'm sorry.
No.
But I kept this because it was interesting. And the
Yeah.
part that really intrigued me, what's in here? Where was it?
I'm
Oh
gonna
my gosh.
scroll to find it on here
Hold
wherever it
on. Let
is.
me see. Hold on.
I'm so
I
glad
found
you
it. It
did
was like
spring
it blew
cleaning
my
last year.
mind. I need to do it more often because we actually have a storage unit that's full of memorabilia and
Sure.
stuff that I really need to just go through and get rid of stuff. Where did it go? I just saw it. You guys are gonna go crazy. Hold on.
Oh,
This
that's all
was
right.
originally gonna be in 2001. Here it is. Totally skipped it.
Okay,
Can I
let's see.
actually hold on? I'm trying to figure out where it is on the
Oh yeah, the
camera.
camera's probably like flipped backwards and all that stuff.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. How do I get? I'm
Add
gonna do something
screenshot.
weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, flip it back around. I like this.
There we go. Okay. Here we go. Um, check this out.
It
I don't
does
know if you
belong
can
in a
see.
museum. Stray Catalyst says this belongs in a museum. I agree. I agree. I love this. Okay,
Look
saved
what it
films.
says.
So saved films is what it
Look,
says if you guys can't see it.
and then it says gone. I was so sad. I just wrote
Gone.
one word, gone, in red, because
So
that was originally gonna be in there, but we couldn't make it work.
that's right. So so
Um,
so that was going to be a feature that was going to be in the original Halo, and
yeah,
then did not get to make it in until I think you said Halo 3, right?
until Halo 3, yeah, when Luke Timmons was able to find that line of code that fixed the
That's
deterministic
wild.
thing.
That's right. Oh, because you said
Uh,
it was like a desync, right? I think so.
yeah,
Yeah,
everything was, yeah, the
everything.
desync and
Man, desyncing. Uh, that's really and so this was so if this was making it into the manual, the draft of the manual at this stage in production, that means that the saved films was something that was really planned and like expected to be in there up until kind of the last minute, right? Is what it sounds like.
yeah, because like this was like it was written up in there in the original like tech review because that
Yeah.
was among the list of features. But by the time we got to this, the July before launch, it was already gone.
Okay.
So
Okay. God, that's cool. I'm glad it was cool that it made it. It made it in eventually, right? Better late than never, I guess. But that's
mhm.
pretty. That's a wild uh, 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 snapshot of history, right? To see it in there, ready to go, and then not. I will say that in the chat, Andrew is talking about wanting to get you and Frank Cifaldi at the Video Game History Foundation connected at some point. I don't know if you're familiar with the work that they do, but I do agree with that, Andrew. I think they they could they would they would love this stuff. I think that'd be very cool. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Mm-mm, no, I'm not.
Oh, okay. We'll talk afterwards about it. They do amazing work cataloging and preserving game history and the context around it. So this sort of stuff is like just invaluable. That's so cool. Okay, so yeah, thank you for showing us that. There's another thing in the manual that you showed me earlier that you called out to me earlier, towards the very end. That I think it was over in the credits. And let me see if I can find it here. I believe yes. In the credits all the way at the end, there are a list of folks called Draft Dodgers. Uh, can you tell me a little bit about Draft
Oh,
Dodgers? I love it.
okay, can you are you able to zoom in on who were the draft
Yes,
dodgers?
the
And I'll
Draft
tell you a
Dodgers
little.
are. I'm gonna. Well, I say that, and then it'll probably cause my computer to catch fire. Let's try this. Let's make sure that I haven't. Okay, so far it's okay. Draft
Okay,
Dodgers are over here. There you go. Pete Demeril. Demeril? Ooh, sorry.
Demerel. Okay, Tom.
Uh,
Oh my gosh, Tom.
Tom, yeah,
Joshua Grant.
Gioconda, Joshua Grass,
Okay.
Justin Hayward, Jason Major,
Hmm.
Juan Ramirez, and Bob Settles. Those are the Draft
Okay.
Dodgers.
Right. So Tom is still there at Bungie. He was the BNet overlord, the lovely guy. Joshua Grass was there. I don't think he rejoined, but he's at Microsoft.
Okay.
Justin Hayward is still there. Jason Major returned to Bungie.
Okay.
I don't know if he is still there because there was a lot of shakeup
Yeah.
during the layoffs. And
Mm-hmm.
Juan was gone after like Halo was done, and
Okay.
Bob Settles I think has moved on to do something else. But anyway, Draft Dodgers are the folks who did not get absorbed into the Halo team and continued on like doing other stuff. So Tom was on BNet. He was
Oh.
able to stay on BNet because he was the he was the one who managed all the back end. He was, and then I'm trying to remember which one Pete was, but he may have also been on BNet or was on the Phoenix team and really was essential to that to keep that going. And the same thing, Josh, Justin, Jason, Juan, they uh, either they had moved on or like we're still doing stuff on Phoenix because Juan was the other like concept art 3D artist on Phoenix with me at earlier during that time. So anyway,
That's cool.
yeah. So Phoenix was put on hold so that Halo can ship, and to keep that going, to just not completely abandon it, folks were able to stay behind. And keep that going. Like, because like the animation person who was on there, Bill O'Brien, ended up moving into to Halo. Like engineers like Chris Butcher like ended up moving into
Okay.
to Halo. Like Ben Wallace moved into Halo. Like a whole bunch of folks like ended up moving into Halo.
Very cool.
So and they stayed there
Okay.
because Phoenix eventually got canned.
Sure.
It became something else, but then it got canned, and so like and then Halo 2 was like immediately like put in development, and yeah.
Yeah, imagine Halo 2 would have probably started almost immediately, right? Or I'm sure parts of it were
Hmm.
even
Yeah,
been running beforehand.
yeah,
Must have been real
yeah.
fast turnaround.
When Combat Evolved finally hit certification, I just remember it was very early in the morning, and I'm seeing the producer walking by. Hey, did we make gold? Is yeah, yeah. We cert got approved, at 3 this morning. So yeah, we're off to the presses, and I'm like, sweet. And then I was able to reserve our honeymoon.
That's right. That's what you were saying. You
And like
waited.
the whole yeah, we had to like we got married April of 2001, and we knew that we couldn't go directly into honeymoon because we were just in development. Rob couldn't anyway, like because he did essentially the human weapons. He was working on the flood. He worked on and he was also the one who kind of maintained and kept up to date the at the time the Halo Bible. Like
Okay.
there was one. Um, but yeah, at some point, like you know, that had to be abandoned too.
Fi-
So
Finally,
anyway,
and finally, you guys were able to go on the honeymoon, and that sounds
yeah.
good. And I hope it was. I would that have also probably. I hope this isn't prying. Would that have also been like your first real big vacation in
Oh
general? I mean, I
yeah,
can't even imagine you were taking a
yeah.
ton of
It was
vacation.
because we were going nonstop. I actually
Yeah.
got sick during our vacation
Oh.
because I ended up having like a high fever, and I spent like a couple of days of it just in bed. Like the last day of our honeymoon, I was just walking with like 102 like fever,
Oh
trying to
God.
go see the lava flows. At Kilauea.
Yeah, you're on the
Like
Big Island.
I say,
Yeah.
yeah, we were on the Big Island, and
Yep.
I was just like, no, I can't walk.
You know what? Yeah,
There's
that's you got
it
to
was it
rest.
was just too much. I got and yeah, and then we were supposed to, because it was in December, so we ended up, we were going to visit my folks who had retired that year
Mm.
and was living on Oahu, and so
Oh,
I got to stay with my parents. But the first 2 or 3 days of vacation, I was just sick, so I
terrible.
was
Oh man.
isolated in a room. My mom was like, whatever. She was doing the usual mom thing, and making me the favorite soups, and putting like a cold compress on my head, like, oh.
Sounds
It
kind
was
of
both.
nice.
It was pretty nice. Yeah, to see my mom. Like, I don't know, we were gone for over a year.
Yeah.
Like since the acquisition, because we moved from Chicago to the
To the
Pacific Northwest.
Northwest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't. It's not like a quick day trip to swing back out to Oahu from the Seattle area, right? So it's like, yeah, I can. Man,
Right.
that's a long stretch. Boy, that's a lot. That's a lot. But you came out of it with so many stories, and I am just so grateful that you were willing to share those with us, and I mean me and us and everything today. This is really, really, really amazing stuff. If you're up for it, it's coming to the end for today for the stream. I've got to go do some stuff. If you have a chance, take a look at the chat. I think like one thing that really does just speak to how cool it is, the stuff that you've done and the stories that you've got, and your willingness to share them, and how good you are at sharing them too. I think that's another component of this, is like there's a lot of info, but you tell it in a fun way. So folks in the chat are loving it, and this is really cool. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing this. If you're down, maybe we could do a round two and talk about Halo 2, and we could talk about the cover
Yeah,
a
I'm
little bit.
gonna do some more. Maybe I'll find, because I'm pretty sure I also have a tech review for Halo
Oh
2.
my
If
god.
because I don't, I think the one I don't have, I think, yeah, actually I don't know what I don't have.
Okay. This is
I
good.
probably have more stuff for Halo 2. It's probably in a box somewhere marked office.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna
Um,
do some fall
I
cleaning,
have
or I
like
guess
several of
winter
those. So
cleaning.
it's like when we move offices, it's like the first time, like we moved from Redmond to Kirkland, I had like 12 boxes. Most people have one or two, right? I
Okay.
had friggin' 12
Oh
boxes
my
of
god.
stuff, right? And then I had to label all of those and pack it up while trying to do the work, because moving is always like a pain in the butt, because we have to stop doing work and then like
And then
pack
move.
stuff
Yep.
and then go and then unpack, right? And then we got moved into a space that I didn't have as much, space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was just configured differently. And then when we moved from there and moved to the next building, because like we outgrew that space in Kirkland. It was like this sort of uh, like a hangar. It was like one of those. It looks like a Quonset hut but large. And then part of the team got moved into the next building. I had to move stuff out of there. So I went from 12 boxes to 14 boxes, or maybe 18 boxes. Like, this is ridiculous. I got to downsize. But all of that stuff was going into storage. And so, like, it kind of built up.
Yeah. Oh
And,
yeah.
and then moving into Bellevue, I didn't have as much stuff because, like, everything was still in storage. So I had, I have like 4 boxes, 5 boxes. But then when we were in Bellevue, moving from that, and then we got, again, like by the time we were there, we already have a fully fledged like, visual ID and design team. I I had even more boxes to go into the next building, and then when we got to the next building, there's a filing cabinet of like stuff that included things from E3 2000
Oh.
pre-acquisition
Okay.
that was in there, like shelf talkers and
Oh
the
man.
big banners, because I worked on the booth for E3 2000, and it was the biggest screenshot, literally 20 feet tall, Master Chief. It was a
Oh
screenshot.
my god.
So one of the things here's an interesting one. So screenshots and videos, you think print screen,
Yeah.
right? You're just going to be a 4K and that's it. It's print ready.
Not then.
But with the Halo engine, we were doing things called tiling screenshots. So if you
Okay.
can imagine a 1080p, sure, it's 1080p on your screen, but if you can subdivide that into each of them being 1080p and then
Mm.
splice that together, each of those little rectangles are 1080p. So
Uh-huh.
then you have whatever. So screenshot X2 or something. It's like twice the resolution. You have 2000 whatever, pixels
Yeah.
across. Now, screenshots for print, so starts at size 4, size
Okay.
6. So multiply 1080p by 4, 5, or 6.
Okay.
So with the original Halo, I had camera control where I could rotate it. So the Master Chief was sideways on the screen in his full glory sideways. And so I was able to get that shot and get him like really, really huge. Now it took forever to stitch because
Wow.
back then it was not automated. It was like Matt Noguchi was able to code it in because Halo screenshots was a pain in the butt when I did the storming the beach
Uh-huh.
on Silent Cartographer. There's the big like 2-page ad that was
Mm-hmm.
taken out. I don't remember if that was for Halo Combat Evolved or if that was for the PC. I think it was for the PC. So I put that advert together, and I had to make it big enough so that you could do a double page spread at 300 DPI, and you could also turn that into a billboard at however many feet. So I was taking like really high res screenshots, and I also like would composite that because like back then like the effects didn't really
Yeah.
like, it was like sort of isolated pixels. The volumetric lighting didn't really bleed into like, Destiny was like a pain in the butt to like try to do screenshots in, right? Because like I said, with the more advanced like engine and everything, just kind of each frame was just really really hard. Anyway, um, yeah, doing the high resolution screenshots was also like
That
a
must have been
thing. And for a long time, when the save films bug was also getting in the way, uh, it's all bugs go through triage, and
Yep.
that one, the bug that made it impossible for me to take screenshots, got put in the chopping block, like as a punt. Like, no, we're not going to fix it. We're just going to wait until the next release. I'm like, I'm
Oh,
not done with PR. What are you doing?
you
I
need
actually
this.
had to
Yeah.
walk. Yeah, I had to actually walk up. And I only did it once ever. And I'm sure there was probably a better way, like 24 years ago, right? Like, it's a whole different mindset,
Yeah.
whole different attitude. I, are you telling me that my job is not important at all?
Get him. Get him. Okay. Yes. Oh my God.
So,
They're
like,
like, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
Did they wind up fixing that for you? Did they wind up like pulling it
Yeah,
back
they
out?
they
They did.
fixed it.
Okay.
The lead engineer actually like stopped doing what he's doing and fixed it. So I had
Wow.
something
Okay.
like, so it was in the next fix. And it was kind of the that was the only time I ever did that.
Eh,
When it came to that thing, and
amazing.
I here I don't know how I come across. Right. So I generally, I think Andrew can say like I'm usually pretty mild,
Uh
right? So when I apparently almost caused a riot,
huh.
I Halo 2. No, we're looking at Halo 2. Um, the oh man, I forget it. Forget he took over head of Xbox marketing, and he really really loved the Halo font,
Okay.
the Halo logo font. Like every graphic designer knows,
Yep.
when you have display fonts, you use it sparingly, especially if it's a logo font. You don't use it as body copy.
Okay.
But the marketing guy
Just loved it.
felt that he just loved it. He think it's like awesome. So that all of the body copy for this like marketing campaign for one magazine, because he knew a guy,
Yeah.
whatever. He's executive suite. He can do whatever. Told him to change the font to the Halo font. And so this whole ad, it was like a storytelling thing. There was like 4 pages.
Oh
You
my
open it up
God.
and it's like the Halo font telling a story, and then you turn the page and there's another like image, and then it's like more text. And it was, I didn't have to say, I just pointed to like a website. Look what they did. And apparently at least 25 people in the studio sent some really strongly worded language to marketing team.
Oh
And
man.
then I got pulled aside and say, Lorraine, you can't be like doing this.
You can't be
Like,
causing an
I'm,
uprising.
I'm like, I didn't even have words to say. I just said, hey, look what they did.
I was just asking
That was
questions. I'm just
it.
throwing it
I
out
was
there. Yeah.
just I was just pointing it out. I don't know
Oh
that
my
people knew
God.
it. Hey, look what they did. That's all. I didn't say, I had no emojis. It was just look what they did.
You were
And
just
apparently that was enough because everybody knew.
Oh my god, it spoke to
It
everybody.
was
All
like
you just
it
you
spoke to everybody, and it was like it almost got somebody fired. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
hey,
I'm so sorry.
you
Yeah,
pitched it over the plate. Everyone was ready to swing at that one. That's really funny. That's
yeah, it was.
that Lorraine McLeese starting a riot at Bungie. Just yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was at Microsoft. It was
Get
at
him.
Microsoft.
That's right. Get
Like the
him.
Bungie, yeah, the Bungie guys were like all up in arms. But yeah,
That's so
like
funny.
I said, we were a pretty close knit group, and we had each other's backs.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
and I look back on the time, and I think like there was a point in time where you know people would think I should be mad, I should be
Hmm.
angry, I should like hate the whatever what happened. No, I look back on it, and it was such a unique time
Hmm.
for everybody involved, and I think I was in a pretty unique position covering the different things I was able to cover because I wasn't tied to a specific discipline, but I had knowledge of every discipline. I had
Yep.
knowledge for narrative. I had an affinity for making sure that what everybody really cared about was coming across to the audience in what way I can in the areas that I covered. So that include graphic novels, that include the
Hmm.
novels, that included the commercials where I can, unless we are totally like removed from it, like the
Completely
process
pulled
was
out. Yep.
completely like, like uh opaque. Like what is the word? It's not transparent to us because somebody else on the other
Yes.
side
Someone.
wanted it to.
Yes. Uh,
I don't know the word.
Whatever has been outsourced, and
Um,
you have no insight right into how things are
Yeah, I
going.
had
Yeah.
no insight. I was not made aware of it. And when I would go into those meetings with the other teams, I do remember being very specific and saying, "I'm not here to tell you how to do your job. I'm here to help you get what you need to make your work successful,
That's good.
and it ties directly to the experience of the game. That's what I'm here to do. So what do you need?"
That's cool.
And that's essentially. And
That's
anyway,
great. That's great. That's the way
that's
to.
my approach. Anyway.
That's a good approach, and that lets you then in on. That lets you into, I think, probably a lot of conversations, right, and gives people the comfort to come to you for your expertise and guidance on things. And obviously, from the conversation we've just had, you have a very clear idea of sort of what works and what looks good, and I think that everybody probably benefited from that, not just the folks at the studio, but also us out here playing the games and enjoying all of that. So I thank you so much for this. I'll If you're down for another chat one of these days soon, I promise it won't take a year. The background of this too is that it was like we got introduced by Andrew like forever ago. Like I think you were saying Lauren, it was like a
It
year
was a
ago.
year. Yeah, it
And
was like a
and it's
year.
just like life has been so crazy, right? I think for everybody, and then like ups and downs, and then like things happening. So we finally did it. So it won't be another year. If you are down to meet up again and hang out again, I would be so grateful
Yeah,
to
I
hang
think
out and
this
do
was.
another one of these.
Yeah, I think this is fun. Again, like this is partly therapeutic for me to kind of
Good.
talk about it. And there have been like many articles over the years on like development. I think there was a Wired magazine back in the Halo 2 days. We were like the Halo gods, and they sent like makeup artists and
Oh
whatever,
man, lighting.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole yeah, the whole lighting thing, and then the interviews, and they really wanted to, and they picked me in there because the token woman, right? And
Sure.
and because I was also like married to Robert, so they wanted to paint our love story
Oh
like
yeah.
into the thing to kind of humanize the Halo gods.
The Halo
But they
gods.
were painting a picture of us that was like, you're writing your own novel. Oh no, I'm getting like this is like the time period where
That's okay. That's this. Is this where you get all the spam calls and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff? I get
I'm
those
getting a lot of
all the
spam calls.
all the time. Well, listen, I've got to pop, unfortunately, to a
Okay.
meeting soon that I've got to do. I could do this forever. Like seriously, selfishly, I could
Yeah,
just keep
but
going
to
forever.
just
Yeah,
close
please.
real
No,
quick,
yeah,
and
please.
the reason too why I feel is therapeutic is because
Yeah.
there's a world where the process and the people are painted in a specific way that
Mm,
sort of have their own narrative based
mm,
on whoever's telling the story. So it's kind of nice to be more honest about it also, like, if at any point it feels like I'm taking credit for everything, it's like I always talk about everybody else who was there
Yep.
and championing what they want. And my title was never really, like, during that time period, was not commensurate with my responsibilities and what I could be held accountable for, I
Sure.
suppose.
Yep.
So my responsibilities in my title, really, my title is like never really caught up to me
Mm,
very much. It just, my job just, would shift and become the title when I became like art lead of consumer products by the time we were in Destiny. Um, but yeah, for a while there, I was a graphic designer or artist. I was doing, like, I was a program manager. I was a principal marketing artist. I was a rigger. I was a 3D artist.
yeah,
So I
a
was
couple of things.
right, a couple of things, and I was, what would you call, like, the person who would be approving like action figures and sculptures? Like, I would
Oh
be the
yeah,
one correcting
crazy.
sculptures. Like, if there's the Madame Tussauds wax
Yeah,
figure of the Master Chief, who puts that together, right?
you're
Like,
like
it's
you're like
right, it's
keeper of the vibes, basically, right? Like keeper of
there should be
the
like
thing. Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
Pixel Smith was the most appropriate title because I pound pixels into submission.
Yeah. There it is. Get him. That's amazing.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty
All right.
good. Well,
So
thank
yes,
you.
thank you, and thanks everybody.
All right.
Um, yeah, this is fun. Again, I for myself, like, thinking about like all the things that I love about video games, like, getting like people who are in the trenches to kind of speak about their experience. It's also really rare, so I appreciate this opportunity.
Oh
So
my God.
this is also good. So yeah,
Yay! All right, we did it. This is good, and the
yay.
the technology largely held up. I have like my black thumb for technology, where I just kill every computer I touch. It didn't happen this time, so this is great. We did it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the stop streaming button. Thank you to
Okay,
everybody, by the way. Thank you
thank you
to
everybody.
everybody in chat. So much fun stuff in there. Thank you for the great questions and the cool vibes, and for joining. And man, all right, here I'm gonna hit stop recording. I would go to my usual Road Blaster outro and standby, but again, I'm afraid I'm gonna break everything. So I'll just go ahead and hit the stop streaming button on OBS. This is how the sausage gets made. Thanks everybody. See you around. Bye.